Hello and welcome back to another video. It is now the end of August, so that means another video for you to see. This month is a bit different because I haven't really taken that many portraits. I've primarily taken landscape photos, which is just completely out of the ordinary for me. I've been wanting to switch up how I'm taking photos recently, and in particular I've just been wanting to go out and take photos for the sake of taking photos. And that's pretty much just because I have stopped taking photos as often as I used to. This is mainly because now that university has ended, all of my mates have gone back home and I haven't had as many people to take photos of, and I haven't had as many ideas to take photos around. So that's why most of my photos in the month of August have been landscapes. I've just been wanting to take photos so I can stay productive and not have to just not take any photos since I'm primarily a portrait photographer. Also, just a quick warning before I show you the photos, there aren't exactly that many. I think there's around 30 in total. And because there aren't really that many photos and they aren't really that amazing, I'm pretty unmotivated to create this video. And that sucks because I usually like looking back on the photos that I took each month and creating these videos. But anyway, that's enough rambling and we'll just get right into the video. And the first photos that I took this month were on my birthday, and that's actually quite late into the month. For the previous 18 days, I've been working and just feeling really unmotivated and I didn't want to do anything. But when I woke up on my birthday, I was surprised by my girlfriend with a really cool present that I had been wanting for quite a while. And that present was the Lomography Lomograflok 4x5 instant back, which allows you to shoot instax wide film on a 4x5 camera. And right away, I began taking photos, with my first one being of Jen. I set up the big softbox light that I do for my videos, I composed the shot and I used some tilt. I was quite worried using this back at first because I had seen so many videos where people's frames were wrong and their subject was half cut off by the frame. So I was expecting there to be some sort of framing issue or just some difficult thing about the framing, but it turns out it was actually really easy to frame those images and those people just couldn't frame a shot to save their lives. Just a couple minutes later, I went out to the garden to get this shot of Jen, and it's a bit overexposed, but that's to be expected with this sort of film, and then just after that I took this photo of my mum and my stepdad. I really liked the lighting in this image, and I ended up using some swing just to get both of them in focus, and I think it turned out quite well. I should actually have a video about the Lomograph Loock coming out sometime next week, so be sure to check out that video. It goes a lot more in depth about the shooting process, and you can see how I created these photos and my thoughts about using the camera, and then I go into my first impressions. Over the course of a few days, I took some more photos with the Lomograph Loock, with the first one being this one of Jen, where I wanted to test out the close-up capabilities of this setup. I'm not really a fan of this image, and neither is Jen, and I just don't think I like how the close-up images look in the instax wide format. And the other image I got with the Lomograph Loock is this one of my cat Scraggles when he was sleeping on my bed. It was quite difficult to focus this image as my room was only lit up by my fairy lights, and as you can see they aren't exactly the brightest. But luckily I managed to focus well enough for the image to not look that weird, even if I did miss focus on Scraggles' face. A few days after getting that image, I went out on a drive with Jen and we went to Balaclava mine. This is an absolutely incredible place with super steep cliffs, old mining buildings, caves, and even 2 engine houses on the side of a cliff. It's probably my favourite place in the entirety of Cornwall, and it's just such a good place to get some photos. And I went there with 2 bits of equipment, one being my Fujifilm GFX 50S and the other being my 4x5 with the Lomograph Loock back. I first started out by getting some images on my Fujifilm GFX, and if you watched my most recent video, then you would have already seen these images. However, I do have a few more for this video that weren't included in the last video. When I was out creating this work, I was feeling really down about the results, and I was just unhappy with anything that I had created. But once I got home, loaded them up on my computer and checked them over, I realised that some of them weren't half bad. And taking these images and the positive feedback that I got from my last video has made me want to go out and create some more landscape work in the future. So you can definitely expect to see some more landscape images soon, and probably even some more videos. It's definitely something that I want to get better at, and I think it would be a good idea to document the process here on YouTube. And I can't imagine the videos will get crazy views or whatever, but I think it'll be quite nice to be able to view the progression that I make with landscape photography, sort of like how I done with my Learning Large Format series. And I could probably even call it Learning Landscape Photography. Anyway, while I was at Balaclava Loock, I also wanted to use the Lomograph Loock to get some landscapes, as at this point I had only taken portraits. And so I set up my camera and went around looking for some images. And I found a couple compositions that I thought might look okay, so I took the photos. The first one isn't too interesting and I find it just a bit boring, but I'm really happy with the second one of the engine houses on the cliff. And the colours and lighting in the engine house image is just really nice, and I didn't realise it until I got home, but there's actually some people in the image. And getting this image has really made me want to experiment with some different focal lengths on my 4x5 while using the Lomograph Loock. I can imagine a 90mm or 135mm with the Lomograph Loock would just look amazing, and it's definitely something that I'm going to have to try in the future. Once I was done shooting at Balaclava Loock, I had 2 images left in the pack of film that was loaded into the Lomograph Loock. So a day or two later, I decided to use the last frames on some images of my nephew. The first frame that I got ended up being quite overexposed, which is a bit of a shame. I also used some tilt on this image just to make it look a bit more interesting, but I didn't realise how much I actually used until the image was done developing. And the second image that I got was of my mum and my nephew. This one turned out so much better and I just absolutely love how it looks. And it's a tiny bit overexposed, but that doesn't matter whatsoever. It's got good colours, a good composition, and the depth of field is great. But that was the last photo that I took in August, and like I said, there really wasn't that many photos this month. I would like to take more images in September, but I'm going to be working a lot, and I'm also starting my teaching course so I can become a teacher. So I doubt I'm going to have that much time to go out and photograph things, but any bit of spare time that I do have, I will be doing just that. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you've enjoyed, be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you're feeling like it. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.